And as our roundtable takes their seats, a look at some of those other moments each candidate would prefer to forget.
It's not surprising then that they get better and they cling to guns or religion or antipathy towards people who aren't like them.
It also means that if you don't like what they do, you can fire them. I like being able to fire people who provide services to me. I'm not concerned about the very poor. We have a safety net there.
My life's like basically, yeah. After my election, I have more flexibility. Yeah. I understand. I trust this religion.
We're joined this morning by former governor of Arkansas, Mike Huckabee, now the host of Huckabee on the Fox News Channel, Huckabee Report on syndicated radio. Also former governor of Pennsylvania, Ed Rendell, got a great new book out called, I guess I can say this on television, Nation of Wusses. Making a lot of waves with that. And Coulter syndicated columnist Van Jones, former Obama advisor, now the head of Rebuild the Dream. Welcome to all of you. And Governor Huckabee, let me begin with you. You heard David Axelrod there saying no one's going to remember this week in October. Is he right?
No. Because the Republicans in the Romney campaign will make sure they remember this week. That's part of what a campaign is all about. And Obama's statement was so just crystal clear. The private sector is fine. I can see that on a loop in a commercial. The private sector is fine. The private sector is fine. And then showing pictures of closed factories and people standing in unemployment lines. If the economy is still this bad in October, you'll hear that statement over and over.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, we have Romney who said stuff like that and much worse. I mean, Romney, I think, had 4 or 5 statements just like that. So we will hear that over
8 or 9.
8 or 9. I mean, so if you want to play that game, we can play that game for a very long time. I mean, this has been a tough week, but I'm glad that the alarm bells are ringing in June and not in November. I think a lot of Democrats, kind of were looking at the Republican primary, kind of look like the Three Stooges. They said, we don't have to take these guys that seriously. People are wide awake now. Post-Wisconsin, people say, look, these guys are serious. They know how to fight. They can raise a bunch of money. And I think what you're going to see now is a big wake-up call for progressives, and people can get in this fight.
And the Romney campaign did show some skill this week, and they certainly raised a lot of money in May.
Yes, they did. And contra the governor, I do not think Romney has made it as big a blooper as this. I mean, the ones you just played, for example, him saying, I like being able to fire people who work for me. He's talking about...
You don't think that's a blooper?
No, you do not book hotels through Expedia if you think that's not a blooper. You want to be the one holding the credit card for someone providing a service for you, because otherwise it's a ripoff, your money gets taken, and you have no recourse. But as for, Van's point about how this will go away, and the economy could pick up. No, the economy can't pick up because of what David Axelrod said in answer to you. Instantly, he goes back to the public sector workers, and that's whom we need to be bucking up here. Did they not notice what just happened in Wisconsin? The country is enraged at public sector workers, and he's talking about how we need to buck up the public school teachers.
Well, I think you should have talked about the entire Obama jobs plan, because it is a good plan. Infrastructure, everyone knows. Even Republicans tell me after this election's over, we'll do something.
Do all of it.
Right. Infrastructure produces 25,000 jobs for every $1 billion of spending. They're American jobs. They're well-paid. We ought to have an infrastructure program. We ought to have it in October when the president proposed it. He's proposing tax cuts for small businesses who hire. These are Republican ideas, and they won't do it because they're interested in winning the election. They're not interested in making this country.
But why didn't
Obama
do it his first
year? But he's not talking about jobs for infrastructure. He's talking about jobs for teachers, firemen, and police officers.
No, Axelrod was. The president made infrastructure his #1.
But he's also the president is talking.
Because he had $1 trillion.
Wait a second, hold on 1 second. I'll ask the governor about this. What is wrong with the jobs for teachers, firemen, and police?
Exactly.
If you look at,
I can tell you, there's nothing wrong with it. My dad was a fireman. I love fireman jobs. But here's what you need. You need enough firemen to put out the fires. You don't arbitrarily go hire firemen, policemen, or teachers unless you have more kids in school. And what we need to be talking about is not hiring more teachers, but hiring better teachers and getting rid of the ones that don't teach. When 50% of the kids in Chicago, where Obama's campaign headquarters is located, aren't even graduating, we need to be talking about improving education, not just increasing the number of public employees who in Chicago get $100,000 a year in salary and benefits.
Well, look, first of all, maybe I was raised wrong. I never heard of this threat to America called public employees. In my neighborhood, we called them teachers, we called them firefighters, we called them cops, we called them nurses, and we were taught to look up to them and to respect them. And for it to now be a punching bag to people like my father and my mother, who were public school teachers, who did not make $100,000 a year, whatever you just said, and nothing near it, for them to become a punching bag is wrong. Furthermore, I think we need to take a big step back here. When you have the amount of pain that's happening in the country, the Republican Party has not only been missing in action, they won't pass their own bills to help Americans right now. They won't pass their own ideas to help small businesses right now. Why? Because their gain will come when America has more pain. It's like having a lifeguard trying to help people.
They're rooting for failure?
I say they're rooting for failure. It's like having a lifeguard. Obama's a lifeguard trying to help people drowning. These guys are sitting back on the rock hoping more people drown.
And George,
that's wrong.
It's
morally wrong.
Quickly, ask any resident of any city in America whether they have enough police. Ask the police chief. They're cutting police and they're endangering safety on the streets. Ask anybody
42 kids in the classroom.
Lives in a neighborhood where that firehouse is closing, whether there are too many firemen.
First of all, this is not what the Obama administration wants to do. All this infrastructure. Why didn't they do it when they had $1 trillion jobs bill the first year? We kept hearing about bridges being built.
We got $1 billion in
Pennsylvania. Then it all goes to the public school teachers and the other public sector workers. The problem with government workers is it isn't creating a job. I mean, it's worse than creating no jobs because the taxpayer is paying for it. They're jobs you don't want done. They're being paid more than the taxpayers who are paying their salaries with better benefits and huge pensions. We want to be able to fire bad teachers, and we want them to teach more. I mean, this idea, it's always less work for the public school
But do you think we should have less policemen and less firemen?
It's always firemen first, and then somehow we end up with 17, diversity coordinators at the public schools.
You want less firemen and less policemen?
Less firemen and less policemen. The question is it the federal government's responsibility to provide the firemen, the policemen, and the teachers? I thought that was a state and city function last time I checked.
And we're going to be hearing that debate for the next 6 months. Do you want to get into one other point
firemen retiring
coming here?
At 50
the president's
with 90% pensions
has also taken a lot of heat for this focus on Bain. Mitt Romney's background in Bain, but his allies are insisting that this argument is working. They're citing focus group and polling advice, and his PAC allied with him, the Priorities USA, is putting out a new ad today. I want you to take a look at this.
Romney and Bain Capital shut this place down. They shut down entire livelihoods. This was a booming place, and Mitt Romney and Bain Capital turned it into a junkyard, just making money and leaving. They don't live in this neighborhood. They don't live in this part of the world.
Now, Governor Rendell, you've had some differences with the Obama campaign over this emphasis, but doesn't that argument work in your state, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that commercial. The first commercial where someone called Governor Romney a vampire, I disagree strongly with that. I think that's the type of rhetoric we've got to get out of politics if we're going to survive as a country and be in a position to ever get anything done. But yes, Bain Capital is fair game. Governor Romney has said his experience at Bain is why he's going to be able to create jobs. It is worthy of a thorough examination. Did Bain, on balance, create net jobs? Governor Romney's been all over the place. When he ran against Ted Kennedy, he said 10,000 jobs. When he ran against Rick Santorum, 100,000 jobs. Now his campaigns, George says, tens of thousands of jobs. Let's take a look at that and let's see.
You made similar arguments against Governor Romney 4 years ago.
Well, no, I never attacked his record at Bain Capital. I wouldn't do it now.
Didn't you say you reminded people of the guy that fired their dad?
I never said Mitt Romney. I was just talking about sometimes an opponent. But let me tell you what I would say. Here's the thing. In every case, it was that he created jobs. But you know what I think we forget? It is not the purpose of a business to, quote, create a job. It's the purpose of a business to make a profit.
Well,
and out of the profits, the jobs are created.
But don't then say that makes you the job creator.
But he's not saying
80% of the cases that Bain invested, they made jobs and created wealth for people, and they made it possible for people to go to work.
Candidate for somebody who wants to help rich people make more wealth. That's great.
No.
Don't say you're a job creator.
Wealth is the creation of a job for people who are working in a Staples store or who work at any types of the industries that Bain Capital invested
Mike,
in. You talked about the life preserver.
Yes.
I think Obama is throwing concrete blocks out there to the people who are drowning by creating a business environment where people can't survive.
Let me ask you a question.
Will Bain agree to open up all its records
we can
so we can see how many jobs
Will the White House open up all its records and tell us who
argument.
leaked that stuff to the New York Times?
It's not just that I was magnificent at Bain and I should be president. It's that Romney has had a Midas touch with everything he's
Massachusetts?
done. Hang on.
Come on.
You keep interrupting me. I'm going to get through. First of all, yes, as governor of Massachusetts with an 85% Democratic legislature, he slashed spending, which is what our federal government needs.
He didn't like his health care plan in Massachusetts.
Great health care plan.
Let me finish. Then at Bain, about 75-80% of the businesses that were going bankrupt, he does turn around. He's a green eye shade kind of guy. He will do what no president, not even Ronald Reagan, has ever ever done, and that is go through the budget and cut the spending, and there's a lot to be cut. And the Olympics, which was also going bankrupt, and it's an enormous enterprise, and the Midas touch man comes in and turns around this nearly bankrupt institution. It is not just Bain. It is everything he touches. And these ads are unfair because and they keep changing them, I notice, because if you look at what he's actually done and who's talking here, they're always the president of the union that shut down a plant in a business that was going out of bankrupt.